Hi there and welcome back. This is your 7th grade math, chapter 1, section 3 on complex fractions. This is going to begin on textbook page 18 and go through textbook page 20. You're going to need all the things that you see here, and don't forget to bring your good attitude, because what matters most is what you do when you don't know the answer, as you can see here. Just a reminder, you're not supposed to be writing in your book, you're supposed to be writing everything that you see on lined paper. Everything here is going to be starting on textbook page 18, so you should be following along in your textbook as I'm teaching. On this first page, I have some definitions for you for complex fraction, or a definition rather, and 3 examples. So you want to set your paper up exactly as you see it here. It says complex fractions are fractions with a numerator, denominator, or both that are also fractions. So the examples that you see here are 20 over 1/2, 1 1/3 over 1/4, and 1 1/2 over 2. You want to keep in mind, though, that I was saying it over, but that fraction bar right there, the purple bar between the 20 and the 1/2, actually means divided by. So when you read that, you could even read it out loud as 20 divided by 1/2. That may help you in the sections to come. As you can see here now too, we have the goal of complex fractions. So it says that complex fractions are simplified when both the numerator and the denominator are integers. So we're basically looking for whole numbers here. So I just added a little note there. Obviously that's not all that integers include, but I just want you to get an idea of what it is that we're looking for. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to example 1. So for example 1, if you could write the problem as you see it, example 1, simplify. Notice that I have written 1/4 on 2 separate lines. I would like you to do that as well. And then the fraction bar or the division bar, and then the number 2, I've made it really large so that you can tell that that's a whole number. So really what we have here is 1/4 divided by 2. So you're going to go ahead and write that as your next step. Now the book omits this next step, but I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. So 1/4 divided by 2 over 1, because remember 2 is the same as 2 over 1. And then we need to use keep, flip, change so that we can divide that fraction. So as you can see here, I have 1/4 times 2 over 1 now. Then we're going to just cross simplify our 4 and our 2, and we get our answer, which is 1/2. Now you see on example 2, it says to simplify 1 divided by 1/2, or over 1/2. So first start by writing the problem, and then you're going to write it out as an actual division problem. Now you want to make sure that you go ahead and change it to 1 over 1 divided by 1/2. Now notice I haven't done the keep, flip, change yet. All I really did was make that 1 a 1 over 1, which really isn't totally necessary, but we should do it just to be thorough. So now we're going to do our keep, flip, change step, which is right here. So we still have 1 over 1, that's the keep. We're going to change our sign, and we're going to flip 1/2 and make it 2 over 1. So now we're going to just multiply straight across. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 1 is 1. So our final answer we get here is 2, and then you want to make sure you put a box around it. All right, so now let's go ahead and you want to pause your video so that, excuse me, so that you can do the got it, the A through D. So go ahead and try that now. All right, awesome. Let's go ahead and go over A. As you can see here, I've written it in the division format where it's 2 divided by 2/3. Then we're going to go ahead and change that to 2 over 1 divided by 2/3. And then we need to do our keep, flip, change step. So as you can see here, we have 2 over 1 times 3 over 2. You can even make your little note here that that's your keep, flip, change. And then you want to just cross simplify. So both of those 2's cross out, and we're left with your final answer, which is 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 1 is 1, which gives you a final answer of 3. Don't forget to put a box around it. All right, so for B, we have 6 divided by 1/3. So we're going to go ahead and move that over and change it into a division problem. So as you can see here, we've changed that into 6 divided by 1/3. And in our next step, we are going to make it 6 over 1 divided by 1/3. And in our last step, we're going to do 6 over 1 times 3 over 1, which remember, that is your keep, flip, change. And then you are going to go ahead and finish solving. So you get 18, and then you put a box around your answer. All right, so for C, you see we have 2/3 divided by 7. So I've now written that as a division problem, 2/3 with a division sign, 7. Then we want to change 7 into 7 over 1, just to be thorough. And then you have 2/3 times 1/7, because that's your keep, flip, change that you do when you are dividing by a fraction. And then multiplying straight across, you get 2/21, or 2 over 21. So you have simplified C all the way. All right, so now here you see D, and for D it says 2/4 divided by 2. So let's go ahead and write that first as a division sentence, which is 2/4 divided by 2, as you see here in blue. And then we're going to go with 2/4 divided by 2 over 1. And over here in pink, we're going to make sure that we do our keep flip change. And that's 2/4 times 1/2. And then we cross simplify and finish our problem off with 1/4. Hopefully you did well in the first section. So now for this next section that's going to be on textbook page 19, you're going to write when the fractions of a complex fraction represents different units, you can find a unit rate. So let's go ahead and see how we're going to do that. So I would like you to go ahead, and normally I don't ask you to write the problem, but for this one I would like you to go ahead and write Josiah can jog 1 1/3 miles in 1/4 hour. Find his average speed in miles per hour. So I do want you to go ahead and write the problem. So after you've written the problem, now it says to write a rate that compares the number of miles to hours. So that means the miles needs to be on top. So we're going to do 1 1/3. So we'll do that. All right, so as you can see, I've set up the rate here for you. It's 1 1/3 mile and then divided by or per 1/4 of an hour. So now knowing what you know, you can go ahead and change this into a division problem, like I've done here. And before you actually do the division or the keep flip change or whatever it is you're going to do, you need to look at this mixed number and change that into an improper fraction. So 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4, so you get 4/3 divided by 1/4. I don't want you to do more than one conversion in the line. So what I mean by that is you're doing the 4/3, which means you're converting that 1 1/3 into an improper fraction. So I still want you to leave it as division. And then the next line down, you're going to do 4/3 times 4 over 1. So now what you've done is you've done your keep flip change. So you have 4/3 times 4 over 1. And now you're just going to multiply straight across. 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 1 is 3. And then before you finish out, you need to turn it back into a mixed number. And as you can see here also, I have a unit of measurement at the end. I ran out of space, so I had to do MPH, which is also miles per hour. But you also want to put a box around your answer. For example 4, you want to write the problem again, just as we did in example 3. So make sure you write the problem. And then you're going to set it up as a ratio that compares the number of square feet to hours. So as you can see here, I've set it up as 34 1/2 feet squared over 3/4 of an hour. So now you're going to go ahead and convert that into the division sentence. So I've done that here. Then we need to make 34 1/2 into an improper fraction. I've done that here. We did 34 times 2 should give you 68 plus 1 is 69. So we get 69 over 2 divided by 3/4. And now in the next step, we're going to keep flip change. Now once we keep flip change, you should be able to identify some things that you can cross simplify. So as you can see, we went ahead and divided out the 3 and divided out the 2. So now at the top, we have 23 times 2, which is going to give us 46 over 1. So we get 46 feet squared per hour. So that's how many square feet she can paint each hour. And don't forget to put a box around your answer. Now you're going to do the got it's. So you're going to write got it on your paper. And then you are going to need to write the question. So I know normally I don't have you write the word problem questions, but I would like you to do that now. Actually, you know what? On the got it problems, don't worry about it. As long as you're setting it up correctly, you don't have to write the problems. That'll be fine because these are a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and look and see what you got for E. It says Mr. Ito is spreading mulch in his yard. He spreads 4 2/3 square yards in 2 hours. How many square yards can he mulch per hour? So first we need to set it up as a rate, 4 2/3 square yards in 2 hours. So I went ahead and did that here. You want to make sure that your rate looks similar or the same. Then we're going to change that over to a division problem. So you see 4 2/3 divided by 2. Then we need to change that 4 2/3 into an improper fraction. So now you get 14/3 divided by 2 over 1. And then in the next step, you're going to keep flip change. So you should have come up with 14/3 times 1/2. And then you're going to cross simplify. Then you get 7 over 3 or 7/3 that you need to turn into a mixed number. And then you get your final answer, which is 2 1/3 yards squared per hour. So that's how you're going to express that as a unit rate. Now we're going to do the same for F. Aubrey can walk 4 1/2 miles in 1 1/2 hours. Find her average speed in miles per hour. So we're going to set it up first as a rate. So I've done that here. And then we're going to go ahead and make it a division problem. like you see here. Now we need to convert both of these into improper fractions. So you can see that I've done that here. And again, here's just a mention, don't forget, I'm not flipping anything yet and I'm not changing anything yet, because what I did do was I converted those improper fractions, the mixed numbers to improper fractions. So that's enough for one line. On the next line is where you're going to keep flip change. So you should come up with this, and you should also be able to see a lot of things you can cross simplify. And as you can see, you get 3 times 1 and you get 1 times 1. So you end up with an answer of 3 miles per hour. You want to make sure that you have the units, especially in this section where you're dealing with rate and unit rate. You absolutely have to have the units or the answer will be completely wrong. All right, so now we're looking at textbook page 20, and we're going to look at this example. It says, on Javier's soccer team, about 33 1/3% of the players have scored a goal. Write 33 1/3% as a fraction in simplest form. So on your paper, I would just like you to write the part that I underlined here in red. So I want you to write that on your paper. Write 33 1/3% as a fraction in simplest form. And then you're going to do the problem. So you can see here that they have shown you that 33 1/3%, let's see, is actually equal to 33 1/3 per 100, because that is by definition, the definition of a percent is per 100. So 33 1/3 per 100. So now you can see I went to a different sheet of paper so that we had some room to work. So you can see that we're going to be working with 33 1/3 equals, 33 1/3 divided by 100. So now you can see in pink I've written it out as the division problem, and in purple I went ahead and changed them into improper fractions, and then I also put 100 over 1. So now you can see 100 thirds times 1/100, and we're going to go ahead and simplify, cross simplify here. And as you can see, we get that about 1/3 of Javier's team has scored a goal. So you just want to put a box around that. All right, so now you're going to take out that separate sheet of lined paper. And guess what? I totally just realized that this is section 1.2. So I'm going all the way back to my notes at the beginning. And if you could do the same thing, I am going to change that 1.3, which was totally and completely wrong. And we are going to make that a 1.2. Ta-da! So now I went ahead and changed that to be 1.2 as it's supposed to be. So sorry if I completely confused you. You also probably want to change it right here I got it right. So it was just on the first page. So now for your guided practice all the way back here in the beginning, it says 1 through 6 is what I would like you to do. Be sure that you write the original problem and then you do your keep flip change and all that jazz. So you do need to do 1 through 6. For the 2 word problems, you need to write everything from here. Okay, so what you need to do for numbers 4 and 5 is you need to write whatever is underlined in red for your problem and then go ahead and work through that. And the last thing that I'm going to leave you with is, did you know a student's attitude and belief he or she can do the math is as important as actual ability? And this is absolutely true. I will see you soon.